Guys, welcome to the Kingdom Podcast. My name is Jordan Payne. I'm going to be your host today. Todd's out, so you guys are stuck with me today. Lucky you. Couple little things before we get started today on our topic are, guys, we've got some great courses. We've got some great interviews that are just being launched now on our website. If you haven't gone to the website yet, it is www.thekingdomrealestate.com. So we just launched a finance course, which is phenomenal. We talk a lot in this podcast about, getting your mind right, getting your money right, making these big shifts so that you can be free, financially free and wealthy. And our goal is not just to show you how to make a lot of money. Do I love money? Hell yeah. Is it fun? Is it exciting to make a great check or to get a great income producing asset? Yes, absolutely. But guys, I need you to understand how to manage your money. I need you to understand your personal finances. I need you to be able to look deeper and beyond just the norm. So the Finance Academy is up on the website. Guys, check it out. I think you're going to really, really enjoy it. Another thing that is pretty new is we've been interviewing these people on it really doesn't matter what night. Tuesdays and Thursday nights, I believe. We've been interviewing people that have very, very cool stories. One of our guys, was so broke that he had to borrow money from his girlfriend's kids' piggy bank to put down an earnest money deposit on one of his first properties. That guy is now doing $250,000 a month. Another guy that we interviewed on the Tuesday or Thursday call was a guy out of California named Don Costa who, had $1 million judgment against him when the market crashed in 2008. Now he's netting over $1 million a year. He shares his story of coming back and to making some shifts, making some changes in his business that really allowed him to just take off. So we've got, in addition to that, we've got lawyers, we've got accountants, we've got property management people, all these different stories that we've been documenting, and they are now available on the website. If you go to the drop-down box and click on courses and mentorship options, you will also see the premium platinum calls. So just a little bit of housekeeping there really quick. As always, appreciate you guys following us on social media. Our Facebook and Instagram is at The Kingdom Real Estate. Our Snapchat is The Kingdom REI. And there you get to see me rant and rave about all sorts of fun stuff every day. I want to talk a little bit today about one of my favorite subjects, and for some of you, this is not going to be new. For others of you guys, you're going to look at it in a different way than maybe you have in the past.
You have to let it all go, Neo. Fear, doubt, and disbelief. Free your mind. Have you ever had a dream, Neo, that you were so sure was real? What if you were unable to wake from that dream? How would you know the difference between the dream world and the real world?
My favorite subject is exposing and shedding some light on what I believe is a very, very bad system that people have gotten trapped in. Now, I've called it the Matrix. Other people like Robert Kiyosaki and people before me have called it the rat race. You can call it the system, whatever you want to call it. I want to start shedding some light to our listeners that I don't think it's by chance. I don't think it's by accident why our education system is the way it is. I don't think it's by accident that we were taken off of the gold standard in the 70s. I don't think it's by accident that we have the Federal Reserve. I don't think our tax structure is an accident. I don't think our retirement structure for most people is an accident. I think a lot of these things were very brilliantly thought up and implemented to keep people stuck in a system so that they can be controlled. We can start off with the education system if you guys would like. You've heard me talk about this before. John D. Rockefeller, way back in the day, designed, funded, and founded the General Education Board. And that was based off of what he was infatuated with, which was the Prussian education system. Now, the Prussian education system these guys were very open and honest about what they wanted to do. And that was they wanted to train good soldiers to fight for them. So when Rockefeller funded the General Education Board and the General Education System, he had that in mind. Now, was he looking for good soldiers? I don't believe he was. But he does admit that he was looking to raise up people that would follow blindly a system that would make them a good employee for the rich. You know, Rockefeller was one of the richest people in the world at that time. His buddies were the richest people in the world at that time. Now, back in that time, you had a lot of brick and mortar businesses. You had a lot of different factories. You had, you know, the up and coming auto industry. You had all sorts of different commerce stuff that was going on. And the rich people, that's who owned it. And they desperately needed people that could be a slave or a cog in their machine. So I don't think that that was an accident, you guys. I don't think it's by chance that, you know, a billionaire had a huge part in founding the way the school system is done today. If you look at the school day, you're going to find a lot of similarities between the school day and the work day. You know, a couple of 15-minute breaks for recess. In the corporate world, you get a couple of 15-minute breaks for a cigarette or, you know, whatever, coffee, to go get a soda. That's very similar. The 1 hour break for lunch is very similar. The 9 to 5, you know, that time frame is very similar, both in the education and in the business world. So do I think that that was all by chance? Do I think that that was all just some mistake? No, not at all. What worries me, what scares me is that the education system has not changed much since, you know, almost 100 years ago. It's very similar still. Ask yourself, when you went to school, did you feel like they were training you to think for yourself and to get financially free and to become wealthy, to become an entrepreneur? Or do you feel like they were training you and educating you specifically with the topics that they gave you to be a good employee? So I like to call that phase one of the conspiracy, phase one of the matrix, the rat race, whatever it is you want to call it. Make up a new name, I don't care. I like to call that phase one. I believe that phase two is when you are, you know, kind of between 18 and 30, you know, you're starting to get into the job, you're starting to get into corporate America, you're starting to earn income. And the natural progression that you've seen blasted all over the media, all over social media, all of the celebrities, all of the rock stars and musicians, they all kind of paint a specific picture, don't they? What is your life supposed to look like when you're a young adult? Okay, maybe you go from renting an apartment to buying a house. You meet a nice young lady and you start dating her and eventually you get married. Now you guys are married, living in this house together. Now your income as a household has gone up. Therefore, your taxes have gone up significantly. So you guys both work harder and longer and you make more money, hoping that that's going to solve your problem. The problem with that is the more money you make, the more taxes you get. So you could go from making $50,000 to making $125,000 and be in the exact same predicament that you were when you were making $50,000. Now she gets pregnant. Uh-oh. And you guys decide that you really do need, instead of a Ford Escort, you need a freaking Chrysler minivan, whatever they're called, I don't remember. So now you are starting to buy liabilities. You decide after a little while, after Junior is born, you decide that you need a bigger house. Now your income taxes are going up. Now your expenses are going up. Now your liabilities are going up. To combat that, what you try to do is you try to make more money. Maybe you get a promotion. Maybe you take a second job. Great. Now your income goes up again. Now you're in a new tax bracket. Now you are being taxed higher. That, my friends, is a vicious fucking cycle. How are you going to win? Right? I'm telling you right now that the solution is not to make more money because your taxes go up. And a lot of times when you make more money, you start to get more comfortable. Now all of a sudden you need a different car. Now all of a sudden your family's young and you want to start doing something for them and with them. So now you buy a boat and you want to take your kids boating and your wife boating. You want to impress your friends and your neighbors. So you go out and you get this and you get that. You need a new flat screen TV. You're buying liabilities and it's not solving the problem. You're making more money and it's not solving the freaking problem. Why is that? Ask yourself, why is making more money? Why am I still in the same spot? Guys, do you notice that every single day on TV, multimillionaires are going bankrupt? Why? Because being a multimillionaire didn't solve the problem because they never got out of the system. So I like to call that part of life phase 2, or the Matrix part 2, or the rat race part 2, whatever you guys want to call it. The first part is the education system and how you were taught, how you were trained. Everything that you learned when you were little, even from your parents, even from your friends, when you were little, that was phase 1. Phase 2 is about 18 to 30, maybe 35 in that corporate cog. And you can't get out of that because you don't know how. Making more money isn't solving your problem. Buying nicer things, trying to impress people, none of that's working. And you're frustrated. It's bothering you because you work harder to make more money and you're in the exact same financial position that you were. Frustrating, right? I can't see your hands, but by a show of hands, how many of you guys can relate to that? It seems like you just can't win. That's the frustration of the second cycle, or the second phase of the Matrix or the rat race or whatever. All right, so let's get ready for part 3. And I want to point something out really quick. Becoming an entrepreneur, I'm in real estate, so call it being in real estate. You get into real estate and you think, okay, well now I'm self-employed. I've beat the system. I'm no longer in the rat race. I no longer have to deal with that. More income means more expenses, and I'm in the same spot. Well, I hate to say this to you, but depending on what you're doing, you could be actually the same spot or worse as you were before. Again, making money does not mean that you're out of the system. Making money does not mean that you're out of the rat race. It's how you make the money. It's how you are taxed on the money. And it's how to break out of the trading time for money. If you are a real estate agent, you are in the rat race. If you are a real estate wholesaler, you are in the rat race. If you are a real estate fix and flipper, you are in the rat race. You are trading time for money and you're getting taxed on capital gains out your ass. Sorry if I'm offending anybody. It's just kind of what I do. I hope you guys are starting to see what I'm talking about, though. Maybe some of you guys don't want to see what I'm talking about. That's okay. Okay, so we've gone over phase 1. We've gone over phase 2. Typically, towards the end of phase 2, people are starting to get worried or think about retirement. So a lot of times people are putting money into a 401k or a different vehicle for retirement. Maybe they are contributing and their company is matching that contribution. And they're starting to get to the end part of their working days. Most people work until their late 40s to early to mid 50s, okay? So that last portion of your life is the third phase of the Matrix. When you retire, for the sake of argument, I want to show you guys something. Let's just say that when you retire, you've got $500,000 in a 401k. That's probably a pretty accurate depiction of where you would be if you'd been contributing to a 401k. The market's going to go up and down, blah, blah, blah. Let's just say that you are going to live another 15 years after you retire. So, in your corporate job, maybe you were making 100,000, maybe you were making 150,000, maybe you were even making 200,000. I don't know. So when you retire, you get 500 grand and you're going to live 15 more years of life. Your income, or your annual income, went from 100, 150, 200 down to 33,000. $333. Now you think you were struggling and you were frustrated when you were working your corporate job making 100, 150, 250. And when you were doing that, you acquired liabilities. Well, now your income goes down to $33,333 a year. If you were evenly dispersing the $500,000 over 15 years, that's what you'd get. 500,000 divided by 15. 33,333. Now, if we were going to divide that per month, you're only going to be bringing in $2,777 a month. Kind of scary, right? What's a home mortgage nowadays? Let's call it $1,200. You know, what's a car payment? Call it $500. Food, $500. Taxes, insurance, utilities. Guys, my point is that the third phase of the rat race, the third phase of the system, the matrix, is extremely difficult because you get to the end of your life and you realize that you worked so hard all the way through your life, and you're basically screwed. You know, you have no money to do anything. You have no money for emergencies, none of that. Now the depression kicks in. Now the guilt kicks in. Man, I should have listened to Jordan when I was 22 years old. Man, I should have listened to Robert Kiyosaki. Man, I should have listened to these people that were talking about investing. I should have listened to these people that were warning me about the stock market. I should have listened to these people saying that fixing and flipping and wholesaling cannot be the end game. I should have listened to these people that were trying to explain capital gains taxes. It's a very, very dark time for a lot of people towards the end of their life when they're supposed to be retired. They're supposed to be relaxing a little bit. They're supposed to be spending time with their family and their kids and their grandkids. Guys, that whole system, phase 1, 2, and 3, are specifically designed to keep you under the thumb of the matrix, under the thumb of the government, the system. Fucking sucks, doesn't it? It's not fun. Like, this isn't like a happy story. I'm sorry for those of you guys that were showing up to be encouraged and blah, blah, blah. Guys, that's the story. That's what millions and millions and millions and millions of people in the world are going through. And the problem is that all of these new generations that we're raising up, they're still in phase 1, transitioning to phase 2. And if I can't capture their attention at phase 2 to the beginning of phase 3, they're going to go through that whole cycle, 1, 2, 3, and end up at the end of phase 3, or the third cycle, completely depressed, not happy. Guys, do you know that if you have to go to an assisted living facility or an on-site care facility, that on average, that cost is $4,500 a month? Guys, you don't have enough money for that. You don't have enough money for that. So what happens when you don't have enough money for that? Who kicks in? The government? Medicaid? Social Security? Guys, those programs are broke. Those programs don't have any money. So what else? What else could we do? Friends and family? Well, friends are they're in the same spot you are. They're the same age you are. Family? Okay. So take somebody in phase 3 that now has this large financial burden and tack it on to their kids in phase 2. What's that going to do to the kid in phase 2? He's going to have to work harder, longer to cover part of phase 3. Guys, it's a vicious cycle. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show people a different way. I'm trying to educate people into a different realm. I'm trying to show people that the only way to truly become free is through passive income, through buying assets. And then the money that your assets produce, you buy more assets. That is the cycle of the rich. That is the cycle of the people that have financial IQ, financial literacy. That's why you see some people thriving. They're not stressed out. They're not trading time for money. They're enjoying life. They go to every kid's soccer game. They go to every dance rehearsal. They're able to bless people. They're able to give to charity. They're able to take care of people that need a place to live. These people are investing in passive income. They're not necessarily fixing and flipping. They're not necessarily just doing the wholesaling thing. They're not just working for big checks. I know not all of you guys are in real estate. That's okay. It's not just applying to real estate. Passive income is the only way to get financially free. When your passive income, your monthly reoccurring passive net residual income surpasses your expenses, you have broken the cycle. You no longer have to trade time for money. How exciting is that? Excites the hell out of me. I did it a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. I finally got financially free. My passive income was higher than my expenses. And at that point, I used my passive income to attain more passive income. And I repeated that process to now, even if I doubled my expenses, my passive income would still have me there. As I get older, as I continue to attain passive income, my passive income at some point is going to be well over $50,000, well over $100,000 a month. And I want you guys to understand that passive income is taxed drastically different than earned income. You know, if you go work at Conoco or Cenex, that is earned income. It is taxed almost as high as it can be. So one of the highest taxes is earned income. Passive income is one of the least taxed forms of income. So I've got this residual income. I'm paying, I think it's like 40% less in taxes than you are. My income is stacking. As my income is coming in, I'm creating more passive income. If I stop working, that income continues on and on and on and on and on. So I'm shifting the cycle. I'm breaking the cycle. I'm creating a new reality. I'm creating a new realm. And my kids will not have to go through that same 3-part cycle. Their cycle number one is going to be radically different, okay? I'm going to be educating them a different way than school. Yes, they need to know how to read and write. Yes, they need to know basic math. I get it. That's about it, guys. That's about it. They are going to learn from somebody that is out of the matrix. They are going to learn from somebody that figured out how to break free from a vicious cycle. Their phase 1 will be radically different than all of their friends. Their phase 2 will be radically different because when they have graduated or when they have learned the basics and they've gotten a foundation of being an entrepreneur and understanding money and understanding taxes and inflation. Imagine being my kid and starting when you're 18, 19, whatever, starting with that foundation already there, starting with the foundation of all of this passive income and all of these assets attained. And when I'm running out of energy, these kids can go crazy. So their phase 2 is they're going to be so far ahead of people because they had a solid phase 1. They started phase 2 with a foundation, you know, not just money. I'm not saying I'm going to spoil my kids and give them money, but they're going to have a education foundation and they're going to have a base for where they're going to start that's going to be radically different than everybody else that they know. Can you imagine what their phase 3 will be? By then, maybe I'm gone. Maybe they've inherited an empire, okay? Their phase 3 will be setting up their kids as phase 1 and 2. You guys see how it's shifting generation after generation after generation. There's an alternate reality that me, the people in the kingdom, the mentors in the kingdom, some of my close friends, we have an alternate reality than you do. And if you're at work listening to this, if you're driving to work and you're listening to this, if you just got off of work and you're listening to this, if you're on your 2 or 3 day weekend and you're listening to this and you're getting prepared to go to work on Monday, listen to me. You are fucking stuck. I'm sorry, sunshine. You're fucking stuck. And if you do not figure out a way to get out of that system, your phase 2 and phase 3 are going to be extremely hard for you. Is it hard for you today? I can't answer that for you. Will it be hard for you tomorrow? I don't know. But what I can tell you is that I've been studying this system for a long time. And you might be thinking, oh, but Jordan, I'm making great money and I'm not stressed out and I'm loving life, dude. I get to go travel and blah, 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 blah. If you're trading time for money, you will end up with a shitty phase 3. Oh, but Jordan, I invested in Bitcoin. Yeah, that's not a proven, safe, effective thing that you can bank on. It hasn't been around long enough. Yeah, but Jordan, my 401k shows a growth of 5% a year. Yeah? Well, go talk to my father-in-law whose 401k crashed right before he was about to retire and he has nothing. Talk to my mom and my dad. Talk to my family members. Hell, go talk to a bunch of baby boomers that are at the age of retirement. Ask them how it's going for them. Ask them, do you even have $500,000? Remember my example, guys. At $500,000, it's only $33,000 a year. Divide that by 12. You got like a couple $1,000s to work with. Take out your house, your car, your utilities, your expenses. You're screwed. If you need on-site care, if you need medical attention, if you need an assisted living home, you don't have enough money. So you might think you're balling now. You might think you have time now. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're in a cycle that's not meant for you to win. It's not meant for you to win, guys. Go talk to people that are 65, 70 years old. Seriously. So guys, this is kind of an intro, kind of an overview of what I call the matrix, what I call the rat race, the system, like the whole thing. Understand that it wasn't your fault that you were born into it. It wasn't your fault that you went through phase 1. Okay? You didn't know any better. You weren't old enough to know any better. If your mom and dad didn't teach you better, it's not your fault. Shame on them. But again, maybe they're only in phase 2, so maybe they didn't realize it. I want to shed light on this, guys. You know, we've got people that come in and out of the kingdom. We've got people that have done very, very well. We've got people that have made big money, big money. We got people that have bought 1 or 2 rental properties, and that's a great start. But you have to continue. You have to continue. Whether it's the kingdom, whether it's another platform, whether it's a different form of passive income, I really don't care. But take some time to analyze your life. First of all, admit that you went through phase 1. Okay? Admit that you already went through phase 1. I don't think we have anybody listening that's super, super young, like 6, 7, 8. Phase 1, 0 to 18 years old. Admit that most likely you are in phase 2, trading time for money, whether you are self-employed or whether you are working for a company. Admit that you are in phase 2. A couple of you guys listening might be a little bit older. You might be at the beginning of phase 3. That's that 35 to 40 year to the rest of your life. Admit that you might be in phase 3. Admit it. What are you going to do to get out of that cycle? What are you going to do to break the cycle? What are you going to do? Maybe some of you guys have kids that are in phase 1 or 2. What are you going to teach your kids to ensure that the next phase is different for them? Take some time, write it down. Write it down, analyze it, study it, ask us questions. If you're not yet a part of the kingdom, I highly recommend it. You know, we've got a couple hundred people that are moving in this direction. We've got a couple hundred people that are starting to admit that they're in phase 1, 2, or 3. We've got a bunch of people that maybe they don't have it all figured out yet, but they're working towards this. We are a group of people that have a collective mindset that want to become financially free. And our mentorship structure is the people that have gotten financially free are helping the people on their way to getting financially free. So if you're not a part of the group level yet, we've got a couple different groups. We've got a group, we've got platinum, and we've got an elite level. If you're not in at the group level, I highly recommend it. That would be your next step. Again, I don't care if you're in real estate. I don't care if you're in a different company. I don't care if you're in a different niche. If you want to move forward, if you want to continue the conversation, guys, reach out. Check out the group level in the kingdom. The group level is going to give you access to the community. You're going to see the conversations going on. You're going to see the advice given from the mentors. You're going to see the strategies that people are implementing. If you want to check it out, go to www.thekingdomrealestate.com and you can click on membership options. You're going to see the group option, a platinum option, and an elite option. I highly recommend that you at least choose the group option. Guys, join the movement, join the vision, join this community of people that is working towards that freedom. It could change your life. It could break you out of the system. It could help you get your mom and dad out of the system. It could help you get your kids out of the system. I've dedicated my life to helping people get free. And I'm passionate about the financial side. I'm passionate about people getting out of the system. But it's more than just that. You know, we've got financial, we got emotional, spiritual, physical. Don't even get me started on those other ones. I talk about the financial one a lot because out of that stems some of the other ones. So guys, I love you to death. Thanks for being a part of this movement. Thanks for listening to me. I want you to take out of this episode the fact that you can, first of all, identify, and then you can make a change. Even if it's just a small change. You don't have to have everything figured out today, but you do need to start today, or at least make a decision to start today. I'd love to have you on board in the kingdom. I'd love to work with you. I'd love to show you what has allowed me to get free. I know the other mentors would love to do the same. If you like this content, please do me a favor and tell somebody about it. I'm not asking for a $50 donation. I'm not asking for you to go do this or that. Tell somebody about the movement. Tell somebody about the vision. Tell somebody about the rat race and the matrix. They might think you're crazy. It's okay. Tell somebody about it. If you love the content, let us know. Shoot us a review on iTunes, Stitcher. We're now also on YouTube and Google Play. Shoot us a review and let us know that you see what we're talking about. It'd mean a lot to us, guys. Thanks again, and we will see you guys on Friday for a little bit of Friday Fire.